everybody.
Good evening.
At the moment, it's just me and Chris. So Jimmy's due to join us, but he's not here yet. So we're going to start, and hopefully we can add Jimmy as we go. So
yeah, we have checked via emails that the time difference was taken into account and all that sort of stuff. So
he may have tech issues. I don't know. So very sorry, you've just got us two at the minute.
But
but it would be episode 19 of At Home with the Fishers, starring Nicola and Chris Fisher, RPT.
Ooh.
So and hopefully with Jimmy DiResta soon.
Hopefully, but maybe he's stuck at work or something. But
yeah. So we shall just carry on. Thank you everybody for joining us. Let's just have a quick look and see who's on. T+G Making.
Hi.
Maple Tree Studios. Wayne Clasper.
Hi guys.
Dave the Wood Barber. Who else is on? Have I said Wayne Clasper?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Wayne Bigfoot Woodcraft.
Evening.
So somebody else. Leona.
Hi, Leona.
Is that everybody? Oh, David McClernon.
Hi, Dave.
So I think, Christina Michael Hesseltine.
Hello.
So I think that's everybody. Have I got everybody? Oh, no, I saw the Flaming Turner as well. Thank you for joining us. Larry. So as I've just mentioned, oh, hang on. There's something might be happening. Let me just see. Hang on a second. Okay. Just bear with me a second.
This is new tech.
Oh, here we go. I can see you.
You see me?
Yeah.
Hey!
How do I sound?
Hiya.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi guys. I'm trying to turn on my headset so we could. Oh, it's not turned on. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
So we are live now.
Oh, cool. So people can like chime in.
Yeah. We've got people on the chat.
Oh, great.
So we've got quite a few people. You probably can't see the chat in this window, but if you open YouTube and At Home with the Fishers, you can pop out the chat.
Oh, okay. So let's see. If I go to YouTube.
So yeah, everybody just bear with us. We'll get sorted.
And what should I search? The Blind Woodturner channel?
No, At Home with the Fishers.
Oh yes. Okay. Oh, live now.
So you'll see the chat and you can pop it out. There's, if you look at, I think it's 3 little dots in the top right-hand corner of the chat.
Oh, yeah.
And you can actually pop that out. So you can just have it open as, like 2 windows side by side on your screen.
Yep. So I turned off the audio on the YouTube one because it's a little delayed.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right then.
Awesome.
So you okay?
I'm great. I just have been working, and I was like, I think I have something to do, and I ran over here and forgot.
Well, let's just do the.
We'll start again now.
We're going to start again. So everybody.
So welcome to At Home with the Fishers, starring and Chris Fisher, RPT, with Jimmy DiResta. And this
Hello, guys.
Episode 19.
So yeah, absolutely beside myself with joy to have Sir James with us again.
Yay!
Thank you, guys.
So
Look at that.
Yeah, so you are an honorary Knight of the Realm, Sir James of Resta.
Well, it's an honor to be here with you guys. It's funny. Yesterday, I was wearing. I've been shooting a video for Carhartt. I'm making a bunch of bars. They're doing a collaboration with Guinness and Carhartt, and I was wearing my "Keep on Turning" shirt for the first half of the video.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you sort of like exemplify that metaphor. Keep on turning, never give up.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's obviously it means the literal sense. Keep on turning on your lathe, but it's a metaphor for never give up. And for people that have followed you for many years and know a bit of your backstory, you've had peaks and troughs throughout your career, but you keep on turning. So it's that's why we gave you that one. So,
thank you. Yeah, it's life is, the one thing I realized, I'm 52 now. So the one thing I realized, and I see Berkey's in here. Berkey,
Yeah.
Berkey's had some ups and downs. The older you get, the more you experience them. Of course,
yeah,
it's not going to not happen. It's
Mhm.
just how you deal with what happens. That's important. It's not going to not happen. It's to be expected. It's just goes to show you how funny life can change in an instant.
Mhm.
And you got to be ready. I was driving here, and I haven't had a driving scare in 30 years.
Mhm.
And I was driving here just like in the last 15 minutes. And suddenly a guy just came out of the oncoming lane and just driving directly at me. And I was like, he's trying to pass that car, and he absolutely doesn't see me. I was
Whoa.
like, this is it. I'm going to have a head-on collision with this kid who's like impatient and can't wait for this car. He was exiting the traffic in my direction. I was going from a 40-mile-per-hour zone into a 55-mile-an-hour per zone. And he was leaving a 55-mile-an-hour per zone, entering a 40. And out of nowhere, he just pulls out of his lane directly head on to me and starts doing like 75 to try and get around this guy. Suddenly realizes that I am directly in his way, about 100 yards away, which seemed like 5 feet. And you could see the decision in his wheel. He didn't know which way to turn, to go back into his lane or to turn off of the road completely, which is what he was about to do. He was about to go completely off the road. And he righted himself and got back in his lane, but he didn't see me for about 3 seconds, which I thought, all right, this is how fast it happens. You just got to be ready for anything.
Yeah.
And but anyway, that wasn't a thing. It was almost a thing. But like I said, it's just a matter of being ready. Just know it's going to happen. It's how you deal with it. And that means anything, going broke, your design not working out, your client getting mad at you. You just have to tough it out and man up and deal with it, whatever it is. And it's so silly, but you just got to realize that it's going to make you stronger. It's such a silly cliche, but it'll make you stronger in the end.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Right. Well, we've just that thing that I was writing down today, Nicola. I was just off the top of my head some of the things that you share with us, and just read the list, Nicola. Some of the things you're well known for. So
Jimmy DiResta, designer, teacher, welder, fabricator, machinist, turner, furniture maker, maker of storage, shop fitter, into construction, forging, printing, signs, lighting, custom bespoke creations, TV presenter.
Oh my God.
So,
and I do none of them well.
So I mean, that's obviously, there's probably a few more that can be added to the list, but I think I've caught the majority of your skill set there. I think obviously you can go into subcategories of that, but I think I've covered the main groups that you're well known for and you cover in your videos.
Well, the one we've not said is maker. We've got, I looked on your website, you have yourself down as designer, builder and maker.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask you is who inspires you?
Oh, wow. That's funny. That's a good question. I guess, it's, Early on, I guess it was a lot of the bigger artists like Andy Warhol was always a big inspiration to me, and not necessarily because of his work. I mean, I am inspired by his work, but more for his output. Like as I was a young art student, I started realizing how much work he output, and also like Picasso, and a lot of the artists from the early 1900s, those guys that just constantly produced art, Salvador Dali, and this all the surrealist artists that the surrealist artists were kind of like at the time just having fun and being silly, and people were starting to buy into it. And if you ask me, I think they were just being more and more absurd and seeing who would buy it, and behind the scenes they were all laughing. So that kind of stuff inspires me. Of course, Leonardo da Vinci and all the stuff at the during that period of time in art. And I was an architecture student, so I am inspired by architecture. I'm inspired by good architecture, and I'm also really inspired by bad architecture. Inspired to not do it. It's funny when you see bad architecture, forces you to kind of think more practically. And also just inspired by the community in general. There's been so many wonderful relationships developed in just the last 5 years of my life that are relationships. I feel like they've been there forever, and it's like I never ever spoke to Adam Savage, much to everybody's dismay. I have no relationship with him whatsoever, but he just invited me to be part of this thing. So in spirit, we are friends, and in spirit, we are connected. And this I'm looking at my emails, happen to pop up this Project Egress thing, just to follow up on that. So just the maker community in general, like I said, even if we don't talk, we're all still connected in one way or another. Or if you in the maker community, there's so many like vague notions of this one or that one, and then you bump into somebody at a show and you can't even remember whether you know them or not, but you immediately just go right into it with them. There's been so many people that I met, even you, Chris, when we first met, I was like, I felt like I met you before, but obviously I hadn't. It's just such a warm, loving community of people that are just open and honest and willing to share. And the most impressive thing is the competitiveness is like nearly non-existent. We all look at each other's numbers and we're impressed and jealous, but in a friendly competition, nobody's really going after anybody, with any.
Yeah, I agree.
Any vengeance.
You always want yourself to be on an upward trajectory, but I would never get upset that someone else has become uber successful. I'm constantly pushing myself, and Nicola's constantly pushing me, and she works hard, but we never begrudge anyone else's success. And good luck to everybody. If everybody can become financially stable and happy and make a living out of making things, God bless them all, and the best will in the world to everybody. I mean, that's the best way to put it, I suppose, from my standpoint. I'm chasing so much stuff myself, but everybody else, you want it, you go for it. And you've said this before in many of your podcasts. It's there for everyone to attain. Got to put the bloody work in though, and put your head above the parapet. It's there for everybody to attain and achieve. But
it's funny. People always, people break my peanuts about me getting so much free stuff from big companies, and a lot of guys will say, they give the free stuff to the guys that can afford it. And I'm like, I said, you can have exactly what I have. Just start a YouTube channel. There is absolutely no hierarchy here. It's just a matter of just producing good content and doing videos that inspire the world. And people are much further surpassed me, and there are people below me, but that doesn't bother me at all. I just I'm in my own lane, and I'm doing what I can do. And sometimes when you get down and you feel like you're not connecting on a bigger scale, you just got to remember, go read 5 comments of people that say you've changed my life for one reason or another, and that's enough to be like, okay, cool, I'm happy where I'm at.
I think one of the sort of like part of the allure for you, and Nicola's mentioned this to. There are other YouTubers with, biblical levels of subscribers, but some of them can be quite niche and sort of like it doesn't appeal. The beauty of your channel is
There's something for everybody.
there's somebody for everybody. You don't have to be a tech wizard or this, that, and the other. And everybody can look at one of your videos or start sorting through, content from your channel years ago and go, bloody hell, that was cool. I'm going to have a go at that. There's something on your channel for everybody. And this, from beginner stuff, your hints and tips to intermediate and expert level, there's something on your channel for everybody. And not only do you inspire millions of people around the world, you bring them knowledge, and also you entertain people, so I think you are, for me, the maker, so yeah. And Nicola's described how you look to me. So yeah, because after this year's Maker Central, Nicola was describing what you were wearing, and she said you have your baseball cap on and sort of like just
that one on there,
a plaid shirt and things like that. So I've got this mental picture now of sort of what you look like, and because I've hugged and you gave me a kiss at Maker Central.
What I do? What I give?
You gave me a kiss.
Oh.
I said, it's not like I was just about to start a demonstration, and you'd come over to talk, and obviously you were sort of like very busy meeting and greeting your fans and things. But you said, I said, I love you, Jimmy. And you said, I love you too. And you said, oh, I could kiss you. So I said, go on then, and you did. But, yeah, I've not washed that cheek since.
No, that's the best thing about this community is it's such a great sense of love for everybody, and there's no, there's like almost no negativity whatsoever, and it's such a pleasure. Because in the TV business, you get mad at people you never even met because they might have stole your time slot, or some production company chooses them over you, and it's just it was such a weird. It still is a weird business. I mean, I'm still dabbling in the television business, but in general, none of that seems to exist where we are. And like I said, we're all just. I'm sorry, I'm looking for my mouse. Oh, there it is. We're all just having a good time and learning the business of YouTube and learning the business of marketing and the business of commercials and everything. It's just you never stop learning in a good way, and we all share.
I think we ask everybody, what has the Maker community given you? And I think you've kind of already answered that, but everybody says the same thing, that it's a massive sense of community and sense of, even if you don't know somebody, there's some connection. And it's, well, what we're on now, we're on episode 19. So you're the 19th podcast that we've done, but everybody's said the same thing about the Maker community. And I find that quite fascinating. Because in my line of work, that doesn't happen.
What is your line of work outside of
business advisor? It's a completely different sort of community, and I think that's why I love the Maker community so much. And I'm not a maker in the same sense as Chris or you, but I enjoy that community. So what drives you to be a maker? Why do you make?
It's funny. It's just something I've always done. I grew up in an atmosphere with a workshop. My dad always had a workshop growing up. My grandfather had a workshop. My dad's workshop was bigger than my grandfather's, and mine is like 10 times bigger than anything my dad had. And I think it started when I was a little kid. My dad realized, of my siblings, I'm one of 4. I have 2 brothers and a sister. And I realized early on that I just was more attracted to staying and hanging out in the workshop most often. And my dad nurtured that by putting chisels in my hands and giving me a hot glue gun with a box of scraps. And, I never really I did play with Legos, of course, but it never, Legos didn't stick as much as it does to other people. I think that's probably because I had a real workshop next to me, and I always knew Legos were simulating building when I can just go and build, if you understand what I mean. Simulating like a facade. I'm like, oh, that's just a big piece of pine wood. I can just go cut that and not have to put 300 blocks together. I could just make that downstairs in the workshop. And so, like I said, I wasn't super attracted to Legos in a big way. Of course, they were always present. So growing up, I just always hung out in the workshop, and then I started realizing I was a visual thinker. I wasn't very book smart. I wasn't very big with words. I don't read very well. My reading comprehension is really bad. I do read when I need to, but it's very tiresome for me. I don't enjoy reading, and I just spent all my time in the workshop. And I would just any excuse to make something. And then when I got into art school, I decided to be first was going to be architecture, but then I realized I was more artistic and less. Like being an artist is really like a mathematician with a good design sense. And I realized I could just be an artist and hire a mathematician. So I could be the artist that just does whatever he wants. And so then I decided to go to art school. And even though I went into graphic design because I didn't really have good guidance, I was in graphic design for 3 years. I started realizing every single one of my solutions was made three-dimensionally, and then I would photograph it. So the teacher would make a menu for this restaurant, and everybody would just basically make like a graphic solution, like a piece of paper. I would make a menu that looks like the restaurant, like it would open up and pop open and be all three-dimensional. And I cared very little about the graphics themselves. It was really more about the construction of stuff. And one of my teachers introduced me to another teacher, and that person was all about making three-dimensional stuff. And from that moment on, I just stayed friends with Kevin. Kevin was one of my big inspirations early on. And I just stayed in touch with Kevin, worked with him for a little bit early on, but we stayed friends. And he's the one who hired me back to be a teacher at the School of Visual Arts.
Yeah.
But that was really where I got the full license to be a three-dimensional artist, where prior to that, I was just kind of trying to jam it into everything. Didn't really have like a focus. But when I started taking Kevin's class, that was where I decided. That's where he was giving me assignments to design props and giving me assignments to design three-dimensional illustrations for the cover of a magazine, or the three-dimensional illustration for the cover of a rock and roll album. So that was when I really started letting loose, and then started learning the distinction between three-dimensional design for illustration and three-dimensional design for prototyping, three-dimensional design for fashion, the fashion of what a computer would look like, or, industrial design. So that really all started coming together for me in art school.
Yeah. You collaborated on a book called I Make.
Oh, yeah. My book I made with Tracy Blum.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we met her at Maker Central, and I ordered one of the books for somebody that we know called Harry. He's only a young boy. He's made, well, I think we tagged you in some of the pictures, but he made some of the projects at the back of the book.
Terrific. That's great.
What would you say to somebody who was a young maker today and might want to follow in your footsteps?
What would I say to them?
Yeah.
I would say just experiment. A lot of people get involved in a project, even young adults that are for the first time deciding to make stuff. I'd say it's really important to experiment. And for some weird reason, I just always had this mentality. Nobody taught it to me. I just, as a child, I would be like, oh, what would happen if I did that? Okay, that's what happens. Let me see what happens if I do that and that. Oh, okay, that's what happens. So the idea of experimenting and getting reference to make your next experiment, and then eventually out of your experiments comes a finished product. I see all too often people make the mistake of going, okay, I'm going to make a bowl. I've never made a bowl in my life. I've never owned a lathe. I'm going to make a bowl. And the thing flies off of the mooring, and they get all upset and distraught and upset, and they give up. Like, how it's like hand me a Stradivarius violin and expect me to Beethoven's violin concerto because I want to be a violinist. You got to build up to it. You got to experiment. You got to figure out what is the right fingering. How is it going to feel more comfortable? Which part am I a lefty or am I righty? People immediately think they're going to get up at bat and hit a grand slam. And it's funny, nobody thinks that about musicianship. Nobody thinks that about sportsmanship. But when it comes to making, people think that, oh, I saw that guy do it, I could do it. And they get up there and they fail, or, God forbid, they get injured on one of the tools. And then they feel like a complete failure. Nobody goes into the minor leagues without building their way up to the minor leagues. And it's the same thing with what we do. I mean, because there is no government regulations, or there's no sports authority, or there's no, stewardship really in America, at least. People get upset when they immediately think they're going to be able to do it great at first. So getting back to my bigger point, which is just you need to experiment.
Yeah.
And that's what I would tell children: experiment. Here's a hot glue gun. Here's a box of pieces. Glue them together. What is your imagination telling you? And that's it. Really exercise the imagination is really another really strong point. Just people always say to me, how thank you, Andy wrote solid point. People say to me all the time, where do you come up with your ideas? And it's just being playful. It's just like going to Walmart and reading the packages and playing with the packages. I mean, that's what I do that a lot in public, but in general, just like go into stores you wouldn't go into. When you're in the mall, just like go into Forever 21, look around, like, why are these young women attracted to these clothes? And you just start, that's just something, oh, what is it in this pie shop? Oh, wow, this place only sells puppies. Let me go in there. So it's just a sense of being curious. And the more input, I always say, the more output. So being curious and being playful is where new ideas come from.
You get out what you put in. And, it's like all of us that are makers, and we've been doing it for a few years now, we have got thousands upon thousands of hours invested in trying to learn these skills. And if I can just sort of like paraphrase again a classical musician, and he's Japanese, and I think when I heard this quote, he was 92, and they said to him, why are you still playing the cello at 92? And he said, because I've not mastered it yet.
Right. Wow. Yeah. It's funny. From time to time, and Nick Offerman always says this, it drives him crazy. When he gets written up in an article, they always say, master carpenter, and he gets really mad. And if he has the opportunity to have them edit it out, he tells them, he's like, I'm not a master carpenter. And you say that about me, and then people think that I told you to say that, and then I feel like an idiot. And, people say that about me, master this, master that. And I certainly am no master. I am definitely just still a student of anything that I'm playing with. And I like to just keep playing and learning. I made my leather bag this weekend. I never really made a bag like that, but I've watched so many people do it, and I'm like, let me just mimic what they're doing. And then I found myself with solutions that I really had to come up with on my own. And, I slept on it, and using my experience, I started, when I did that, this is the solution for that. These things start happening unconsciously, and you wake up and suddenly you have a different frame of mind. And another thing, a lot of people go into making stuff, they need to see all the steps in front of them. Personally, I can't work like that. I need to just know, I kind of have like a vague end vision, and I know where to start. And then every single step begets the next step. And so that's another piece of advice to somebody who's just starting this. Don't think you need to have every single thing mapped out and, sketch up before you get started. I personally like leaving the process loose, because that's where the surprise comes in. And that's for me, that's where the joy is discovering new opportunities of doing things a certain way. Or, like I use this example, like the barbecue video that I did recently, which is turned into a viral video. It's over 2 million views of me making a scissor lift barbecue.
Listen to that.
I started that video just going to make a regular barbecue. I wasn't making a scissor lift barbecue. I was just making a regular barbecue. And it was like about, after the first act, so to speak, I said to myself, this is just going to be a boring video of me making a barbecue. What other ways can I make the grill go up and down? And I have a scissor lift in my workshop. And I thought about, the scissor lift goes up and down. How can I copy that? And then I was like, if the barbecue is right on top of the scissor lift, that would be going up and down. And so that's where I got the idea to just do 2 X's on either side. And it gave me enough travel of about 12 inches. that was impressive enough for camera and worked enough for the grill.
Yeah.
So therein lies the, keeping it loose and free and easy gives you the opportunity to come up with new discoveries.
Yeah.
When you do a SketchUp drawing and you like stuff, maybe for the people that do the SketchUp drawing, that process happens while they're drawing it, but not for me. So personally, that's why I tend to stay away from hard sketches early on.
Yeah. So.
Chris says he can't see it, so it doesn't work for him.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So for me,
but you see it in your mind, and that's where it's most important.
I do, and I don't know about you, and I'm guessing you do. For me, I get a huge, it's almost a sense of euphoria from being presented with a problem and having to work it and solve the problem differently because I'm blind. But it's still the same for sighted people. When you're creating on the fly, you've got a problem, you work the problem, you solve the problem. For me, that is one of the greatest feelings of being a maker.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's so nice that, I said it before, when you hit that publish button and you like heart races a little bit and you're so proud to share the discoveries you made, especially like on a good one. Sometimes you hit that publish button and you're like, I guess that one's done. But for the most part, you have that feeling of, wow, I can't wait to see who gets inspired by this, or, and it used to be, honestly, like, wait till they see me now, and I hit publish and be like, I'm going to show off and everyone's going to wish they thought of that. But now it's like, wow, I can't wait to show everybody look at this cool thing I did. And I can't wait to see what comes out of it from the young people and the old people that are watching that want to learn and be inspired by what I do, so there's a lot of that now more than ever before, where it's a matter of, wow, I can't wait to plant the seed and see what grows from it.
Yeah, that's it. Planting the seed, and you do that so well for so many people around the world. So,
so how do you relax? Do you
I make more stuff.
Yeah. Well,
no, I was gonna say, I just did that leather bag. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull my shoe on while we're talking. It looked like I'm doing something else. Okay, my shoe fell off. I couldn't pull it back on. Working this weekend on that leather for me was a whole brand new sense of discovery, and that's where I have a sense of relaxation, where it's like, okay, let me slowly approach this and slowly figure it out. And it's really funny if you watch my Instagram stories on Saturday. I'm working in Taylor's leather studio, and it's totally her space, has nothing to do with me. She wanted her own space that has nothing to do with me and my dust and my dirt. So it's in a different location. And so we put the machines there so they wouldn't get dusty, the sewing machines. So she's like, okay, she went out for a few hours. You're on your own. Goodbye. See you later. And now I'm in her studio, and I immediately, in my mind, I'm like, okay, let me get my 5-foot ruler. Oh, wait, that's not here. Let me grab this. Oh, that's not here. So I'm in a different space. And so the sense of relaxation comes in like the puzzle, unpacking this puzzle of, I'm in a room with a razor blade and no straight edge. How can I cut a perfectly straight line?
Yeah.
And then that becomes a problem to solve. And therein lies like the discovery, the relaxation, my sense of having fun. Silly, but. And I ended up using an old trick, and I showed it on Instagram. This old trick where I use the edge of the table and a razor blade rides right along the edge of the table like this. And I cut whatever material in a sheer fashion right along the edge of that material, right along the edge of that board. And I was able to cut all the leather for this bag without even ever really using a straight edge, all the big cuts.
Wow.
Is there anything that you've not done yet that you really want to do? Have you got a wish list?
I guess I want to in a bigger way build like a hot rod or a rat rod. That's something that people keep asking me to do, and it's something I've always wanted to do. I have a fear of doing projects that last for longer than a year, so I never start them because I know they're going to just sit around. So if I like to be able to start a project and know I can finish it within a couple of months. With a car or a travel trailer or a motorcycle. I haven't really done any of them because I just know there's going to be one of those projects that will last for 2 to 3 years. And it'll be those like, oh, that's Jimmy who has a half-built car in his garage. So that's just a stupid thing I need to get over personally. But I doing a car or a travel trailer, those are projects that I want to do, which, those are long-term projects that I have to one day figure out how to start.
Yeah. Well, just for Nicola's, FYI, a rat rod is a style of rod where it's a bit beat up looking, but it's completely intentional.
Right.
So it's ratty.
Okay.
So are you fans at all of the late Boyd Coddington and?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I used to love listening to his show, American Hot Rod and American Chopper and things like that. So
sure. Yeah.
That classic Americana, design icons, but obviously hot rods and huge motorcycles with big V twins. They're very provocative, and these images that I've got of America and American graffiti and hot rods. It's amazing. So I hope you do get round to building yourself an awesome set of wheels, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a goal. It's a goal.
Yeah. And when you finish making your motorcycle, I'll be test pilot, man.
Okay. It's going to be autopilot. It's going to be like a Tesla. You could drive it without looking.
You've got to sit behind me, say left, right, brake, brake. For God's sakes, brake.
I heard a funny story once here in America on the news. It was an old one. It's probably true. You could look it up. Where a guy got pulled over and he was blind. And they said, "What are you doing driving blind?" He said, "Well, my friend here is drunk and he couldn't drive, so he was just telling me where and how to turn."
Well, that's I have driven cars with a sighted instructor next to me on a racetrack, and it is completely doable. And I've driven at speed, so you have the instructor next to you. You've got an intercom, and he's saying left, straighten up, power, brake, turn right. Brake, straighten up, power, completely doable. And I have driven at speed around a track. So
let me know. Just let me know when you're doing that. I'll make sure I stay away.
I think that story that you have just told is completely true. We've
got a question from Maple Tree. Who are your maker heroes?
Oh, I tell you, it's unfortunate we lost the King of Random. I didn't know him, but it really highlighted his body of work in the last 2 weeks. We lost the King of Random to an accident. Unfortunately, he was just a young man, and but him definitely learned a lot watching him over the years. And Colin Furze. I mean, I was so honored when I was in Colin's booth when we were all together in May. And Colin was talking, and he was just talking straight away. And, I said, "Wow, he's such a nice guy." And he goes, "Like you do." I'm like, "Wait," I go, "You watch me?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "You know who I am?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh my God." I was like a little boy. I was like, "Wow, Colin Furze knows who I am." And he was such a nice guy. And then it's funny. When I was on stage at that show, someone said to me, "What are some of your upcoming builds?" And I said, "I want to build more like Colin Furze, like mechanical this or that." And then I went home and the first thing I built was that barbecue. So it's really funny. I planted that seed to do something more like a Colin Furze video, and I made that barbecue, which it didn't have any actuators or hydraulics, but definitely was inspired by all of the different types of steel mechanisms that Colin and his team do. So who else? I mean, I'm a big fan of Casey Neistat. He's just another fellow New Yorker. He just recently moved to California, so we're going to see how his style changes. But just Casey's just a type A personality is a big inspiration to me when I see what he gets accomplished. I mean, he's almost 20 years younger than me. But when I see what he gets accomplished, I think to myself, wow, he could do it, I could do it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, how's your workshop coming along?
The one in the back is great. The new big barn is great. I'm just I'm slowing down. I'm spreading out the money a little bit. Yeah. I just bought another little piece of property in town. So the building itself is there. I just put up the fans, and I still need to do the walls, and we need to set the electric. We have electric in there, but we have like several temporary outlets. We need to one day get in there and just nail it hard and get everything in the walls. It's just been a matter of Patrick is my electrician and friend, and he's been super busy at the World Trade Center. He works at the New York City World Trade Center. And his company has really gone crazy doing 25 different floors. So he's a project manager. So he's every weekend he's getting jammed and staying downstate. So when things lighten up for him, I'll make sure they lighten up for me, and we'll get back on moving along. But the building's operational, and which is probably the biggest problem, because I'm like, we'll do it later. It works now. It's fine. But we do need heat, and heat is coming in this month. My friend Mo from M&H Heating on Instagram, he's going to come and get the boiler set up for the heated floor, and insulation's in for what it's worth. It's not done super perfect yet, but it's there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
it's getting there. Everything's a work in progress, and I try not to beat myself up about not having it perfect yet.
Dave the wood barber has said, might be a silly question, but have you ever knitted or done any crochet?
It's funny. I've tried. I have several friends that are good knitters. One of Taylor's girlfriends knits constantly, and she's tried to teach me, and it does not stick. I tried. I just, one of these days it'll click for me. And I see young women in New York, they knit a lot of times on the subway, and underneath Taylor's studio here in Hudson, there's a knitting circle every Thursday night, and I see the women in there knitting. I don't see any men. I keep saying women because those are the only people I know that knit. And it's just a matter of me sitting and focusing one night. I do want to learn, and I've tried, and I just can't figure it out.
Is there anything that the maker community doesn't know about you?
I'm pretty much an open book. Maybe I'm honest to a fault, but yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. I kind of outed myself as far as being sober for 32 years. I've outed myself for having reading comprehension and dyslexia and every other learning disability that I've ever had, which I think just makes everything else I do comes to me more easily. The fact that I have all these learning disabilities growing up that, I never really let them affect me. I always just, some people say, oh, they have a learning disability, and they use that as an excuse to avoid something or another. And I don't think I've ever done that, not consciously.
No,
but it's just your brain is wired differently.
Yeah.
A lot of the businesses that I work with, a high percentage of the business owners are dyslexic.
Yeah.
I'm convinced it's a factor in their success.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's the same for you. It's because your brain is wired differently.
Yep. It's I definitely, well, people always say, like, when people show me something and they start explaining it, and I go, yeah, I got it. And they're like, no, but I'm like, I got it. Like, I saw it, I got it. Or like people, like when someone gives me something to put together, and I go, I don't need the instructions. I just need to see the picture on the box.
Yeah.
Oh, you sure? I'm like, I promise you, I only need to see the picture on the box.
Yeah, you've said that in past videos where you can look at something and then a few minutes later you've deconstructed it mentally and reassembled it, and you've worked out pretty much most of the kinks in your mind. So, and there's definitely a trend and a link between people with learning disabilities and a sort of like genius levels when it comes to working with the hands and things like that. So and it's like, you were saying, when people find excuses, I mean, it's with me being blind, and because I have no vision at all, my retinas were destroyed by the infection. The amount of people that say to me, well, if Chris can do it, what are we, bloody moaning about? And
yeah,
that's the reason I set up my YouTube channel, to help people, realize that no matter what life throws at you, and again, we're getting back to this point, you can find a way. And to paraphrase, a band, sometimes darkness can show you the light. So.
Andy Berkey has said, has Jimmy ever buried a stolen vehicle?
I might have once in my life. When I was a young teenager, I was running with a bad crew. Me and my buddy John. Well, he actually already did the dirty deed. He stole a motorcycle, and then he had it ditched somewhere else. I'm not saying I wasn't an accomplice to this whole thing. We were young kids. We were in like middle school maybe, And so we walked the motorcycle from where he hit it initially to my house because it didn't work. So we were going to dismantle it and fix it up. And then word on the street was the person who owned the motorcycle knew we had it, and he was going to come looking for us.
Yeah.
So we figured the only logical place we can do to hide it completely is to bury it. So we buried a 6-foot hole standing up. We thought standing it up would be the best for it so that the oil wouldn't leak out. And so we wrapped it in plastic and dug a 6-foot hole and put it in the hole and covered it with dirt. And the very next morning he was there with his mom and dad looking for the motorcycle.
Did he find it?
Nope. It stayed in the ground for the next 10 years because we were afraid we'd get in trouble.
What motorcycle? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's funny. Berkey, I don't know. Remember how Berkey, you heard that story? I only told that to my close friends.
Yeah, it's that Italian blood in you. Let's dig a hole and chuck something in
it. And it was just, it was non-working when it was taken in it. And then years later, one of my college buddies heard me tell the story and he says, "Is it still there?" I said, "Yeah, it's still there." He said, "Can we dig it up?" I was like, "Sure." So we dug it up and it didn't work. It was very rusted. And so we decided he took it and
scrap.
Let's just say you'll never see that motorcycle again.
So I think probably our last question is, what's next for you?
It's funny. Me and Laura often talk about this kind of philosophically when we're together. Laura Comp, what's next? What's after YouTube? It's exciting to be in the game, to be able to participate in what's next. I don't really know what's next. I mean, I guess I can say me and a couple of YouTubers that have a great sense of humor, where we've banded together, and it wasn't our personal idea. It was some TV producer said, "You guys have a great sense of humor all together. This person's been watching our stories and, the few times we hang out together." And that person said, "Why don't you guys get together and do a TV show?" So this production company is pitching a TV show with me and a few other YouTubers. I don't want to say who they are just yet until it gets a little bit more solidified. Mm-hmm. And we last night we had a powwow on Instagram. On Skype, just discussing potential show ideas. And I tell you, we didn't stop laughing the entire time. And if we could bring any of that energy to this TV show, it's going to be a hit. A lot of fun, a lot of potential fun to be had. But it's TV. It's very touch and go. It can go away at any second. And but besides that particular TV show, which is just a maybe, I'm on the TV show with Nick Offerman and Amy Poehler. That's going to be on in December. The second season we shot went really well for me this time. Last season, the first season, I was always kind of whiny about because I wasn't really happy with what happened. But you know what? I learned to just stop being a baby and just enjoy the experience. I don't know what was up my, I don't know what was in my diaper that last trip around, but I was being a baby. But this time around, when they asked me back, I couldn't believe it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity and make the best of it. And had a really nice time. I met some really great, not to say the first cast wasn't great, but the second cast was even more better and more open. I think because they had an opportunity to see season 1. And so jumping on the show at season 2, they all realized, let's just make the best of, what we saw and better. And so season 2 is better than season 1. And season 3, if we get it, is going to be amazing. So it was a really great experience. Made some great friends behind the camera and in front of the camera.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. And that shout out you gave me was from your hotel room whilst you were in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, thanks again for that. But it's I mean, I don't know if you know, but I've been covered by the BBC here about 4 or 5 times, because I'm a blind woodturner, and the only one doing what I do in the country. But the sign that Nicola, so read out my name again. I'll just give myself a...
Chris Fisher, RPT.
So Chris Fisher, RPT. So hopefully the BBC, they've asked for exclusive rights to the story. But I've just, about 3.5 weeks ago, I had an assessment.
Really?
And it was for an accreditation. So I've passed. So I've become the first ever blind accredited turner.
Wow.
So the RPT stands for Register of Professional Turners.
Terrific.
I'm on the register now. I've been added to the database, and I'm the first ever blind accredited turner in the country.
Amazing. Congratulations.
So, but I'd just like to say thanks for being part of the journey, because, you know, there's a little bit of Jimmy in what I do. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
So, yeah, I've worked hard for those 3 letters, so I'm going to bloody use them.
Very good. No, that's it. You know, we all work so hard to get to do what we do, and I'm just proud that I'm just happy and proud and grateful and honored that the fans make it happen. Because if nobody was really watching, you know, I don't know, would I do this alone? I mean, it's what helps me pay my bills. So, thank you, everybody.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
We're just made up, aren't we, that you're here. So,
thank you, guys. Thank you.
Can't thank you enough for coming on. What we do now is we just tend to talk about what we've done this week. You're very welcome to join us, but if you need to go, that's absolutely fine, whatever works for you. But we just want to say thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about your making.
Yeah, and we really do appreciate you giving us some time out of your very, very busy schedule. You know that we love you very dearly, and we wish you.
I love you too.
We love, you know, we love meeting and hanging out with you when we can. And for you, my friend, you know, as much success as the universe wants to dole out for you, and
thank you, brother.
We've always got your back. So.
Well, when you guys come and visit upstate New York, you got a place to stay.
Well, that's one. Yeah. I mean, you know, you're on sort of like my dream wish list to get to you. So, you know, it's a dream of mine to get to America, full stop. But, you know, at the top of that, get to America's, you know, come and stay with Jimmy and Taylor and the animals and stuff. So,
yeah.
As soon as we can steal some motorcycles and raise the cash.
That was the only thing I ever stole in my life. I was probably about 15. So.
Yeah. So.
And I got away with it for now. I don't know. Is there statute of limitations on that?
Yeah. But, you know, it's like you say, kids do some daft things. But, yeah, it's all part of growing up.
Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to bow out because I got to shop staring at the wall. I got to go over there and turn his head towards the work.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Sir James.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Berkey. I love you. Love you guys. And what do I do? Do I just like hang up on the live chat stream?
At the bottom of your screen, it should say leave studio. Right at the bottom, you should have like a little message. So if you just leave studio, it will take you out of the show.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I love you. I'll see you all soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Woo.
Wow.
That was so nice of Jimmy to rush to us, and he was only a minute late. And
I'm so glad that he didn't have a car accident. I know, that sounds scary.
Yeah. Well, if that car would have hit him, their combined speeds would have been probably cataclysmic and fatal. Yeah. You know, 70 miles an hour and a 60 mile an hour. You're asking a lot to be walking away from that. So. Well, that was absolutely incroyable.
Yeah, hope you really enjoyed that. It was a privilege having Jimmy on today and just being able to chat with him. It
was amazing. So we're going to save up now that Jimmy's offered us
the bed.
Offered us a bed. That's cool. So wow, that was amazing. Looking heck.
So thank you all for being here.
Yeah, thank you all very much for joining.
Andy, try and Gatecrashed the stream. Well, you can come on if you want, Andy. Let me just see.
Let's have a party.
Yeah, Andy, do you want to join us? Let me know, and I can try and add you. This is, by the way, new tech. Obviously, Google Hangouts disappeared. So we tried something with the flaming turner last week, and it was okay, but it broke down halfway through. Yeah, we're now using StreamYard. So it seems okay. Hopefully it's all right. Are you in? All right, let me try it.
Big shout out to Steve Twidell again as well for being our sort of like technical advisor on this sort of like.
Andy, I'm sending you a link. If you click on this link, and then that should add you. So try that link. So whilst we're just waiting for Mr. Burkett, it's like double whammy.
Yeah.
What have we been doing this week?
Right, well, we better be quick before young Mr. Burkett joins. But holy moly, we've had a busy week, haven't we, Nicola?
Yeah.
I don't think Nicola's paying attention. She just, yeah.
Mama.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, Nicola's brain's gone to mush.
Oh, it went to mush earlier, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what's 120 divided by 7?
Yeah, I don't even want to go there. Someone fired up a lawnmower before, and someone said, "Why do people start hoovering now?" Honestly, you know, this is a lady that's been to the Sorbonne in Paris. 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 3. That's yeah. But we've been very busy, so let's quickly.
So we've been to Holmfirth. We went to do a demo.
Yeah, Holmfirth. For those of you that know Last of the Summer Wine, the world's longest running comedy drama, Holmfirth is the town near Huddersfield, well, village really, where that was filmed. I'm gonna go and get another gin and tonic.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Nicola's gone a very bright shade of red, Chris says, Dave the wood barber. Debbie says it's brain fog. I think it is brain fog. Yeah, I've got a bad dose. But anyway, carry on.
Right. So yeah, we went to Holmfirth, where Last of the Summer Wine is filmed. We had a cup of tea at Sid's Cafe, which is used in the programme, before we went to our demonstration in Huddersfield. This is going to be really, really hard work, Susan.
Okay.
Andy, help.
Oh, he's putting his headphones on.
Yeah, Andy, help.
All right, keep talking. We're just getting ready.
So, yeah, Holmfirth and then Huddersfield demonstration, which went really, really well. So I got to use Chestnut Finishes new metallic acrylic paint on a textured bowl. Yeah. So that went really, really well. And what else have we done? Filmed a video.
We got Jay Osmond's drumsticks.
Oh yeah,
the
drumsticks for Jay Osmond have been engraved now. So they're just waiting to be dispatched to the lady that commissioned them. And like I said before, she knows the Osmonds and she's meeting up with them. You know, it's really weird when you're blind and someone sat there giggling. And you know, Nicola's reading stuff and seeing stuff, and I'm here in the dark thinking, why is everyone mad? And I'm sat here in this little dark world. You know, it's like when you're drunk and you're laughing at everyone else's joke. The person's going, "What's so funny?" That's how I feel. What's so funny? Because Nicola's sat there reading.
Used to it now.
Nicola's there reading stuff, and is Andy pulling faces? Is that what he's doing?
No, it's just, I don't know. Dave, the wood barber, said, "Blimey, you can see Nicola's heartbeat from here." And I've got a lovely shade of beetroot. Jimmy looks weird. So how you doing, Andy?
You know, I'm all right. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're good. This is a surprise.
Yeah,
It's nice.
We've been following your uploads, and Nicola's been describing what you've been doing on your Instagram.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm buried. I was just at my bench when the notification came on that you were going to have Jimmy, and so I was carving on this guy.
Yeah.
And listening to the stream at the same time. So that was brilliant, wasn't it? How cool is he?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that because, you know. Jimmy.
But do you know each other quite well?
We've hung out, I don't know, half a dozen times, maybe a little more. And I had a really cool opportunity to go hang out with Giaco and Laura and Jimmy at the house when we built the teepee 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
And that was just brilliant. I mean, absolutely, to be, the thing that we forget sometimes is, I mean, you guys kind of touched on it with the way that Jimmy thinks differently. You get that many creative minds together, and it's half a train wreck and half absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. I think he does think very differently. I think his mind is working at a different rate or on a different frequency. Yeah, but I mean, I could say the same about you though as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with you on that one. I feel a lot of times like I'm seeing what's in front of a group of people. I'm seeing it differently than everyone else.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably, I wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah. Well, that's the weirdo thing.
It is. It completely is. That's kind of what the, you're weird, I like you.
Yeah.
You can pick those people out, can't you? You can pick them out in the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I don't know what it is, but yeah, you do recognize other people like that.
Right.
So how's this project coming along? I'm fascinated by watching all your IGTV and seeing everything that you're doing. I mean, it's as I said to you in one of the comments, it's making me look at things differently.
Cool.
What you're doing, and then looking at something that's maybe been there for 200 or 300 years. Like the pictures I sent you of the monastery in Manchester, and thinking about how somebody had created that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the thing that comes out, and what I'm trying to kind of put through on Instagram, is the fact that we talked about walking into Canterbury or wherever when we were on before, and the whole thing is meant to awe you, to kind of like overwhelm you.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is those pieces, that they're just made one bit at a time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what I'm trying to kind of demystify that.
Yeah. But it's fascinating to see that process. But I mean, I always love things that I don't know anything about. Yeah. Yeah. My little mooses are on the top.
This is in the house right now because it needs to dry a little better. Than it's very humid here, so
right.
I've got bits and pieces all around my office and basement. So
yeah, it's really cool, and I like the thing as well about you talking to the guy in London and working remotely with somebody. Yeah,
that's not the most fun or easy thing in the world, but you kind of get a bit of a rhythm, going. And, so good fun.
That's cool.
Well, I didn't mean to hijack. I'm just, I was very amped that Jimmy came on, and that was a great interview you guys did. You guys always bring out something a little bit extra on everybody.
Tim, go on. You two kids have fun for a minute.
Oh, right. Okay.
Sorry. Needs must.
Oh, and there's Bamba. Bamba was under the desk, so yeah. So the owner says, "Are you going to be doing another run of those shirts, those T-shirts?"
Yeah, I think we're gonna wait a couple of months and maybe do another run around Christmas time. In the interim, I think we're gonna come out with just the big Seymour shirt that you see me wear quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think we'll put that one out next. So that should be out here in a month or so.
Cool.
So it's good fun.
And let me just see.
Yeah. What are what's people are barbecuing us in the chat? Are they?
No. Well, they were laughing earlier at me. Steve Fidel says Jimmy looks weird. Yeah, the space transplant.
Yeah.
So
this is like the knockoff, the ugly, how they have a litter of pups and one of them scrawny. That would be me.
So what else have you been doing this week?
I was gold leafing most of the afternoon yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I'm not very good at gold leafing, but, I try to just do a little bit at a time. I'm kind of fighting a little bit of tightness in my back. So I got to do really, when I'm hunched over, it messes up my back. So I got to do that in bits and pieces. So this is today's effort to try to get this guy done, all carved out. So like this drawing here goes into this pyramid shape.
Yeah.
Carving here and, all that kind of stuff. And then this will get gold leaf too.
That's cool. So what's your time scale for this project?
I have to be done I think it's All Saints Day, November 28th. So I'm gonna have to push it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
Are you going to carry on? Because I need to go.
Oh. You have made us both lose control of our bladders.
That's Jimmy leftovers was what that is.
Yeah, Jimmy instigated it. We had enjoyment overload because of Jimmy, and now you've come, and that's it. It's just we can't cope now. So Nicola has been describing your work as sort of like your Instagram videos come out, and so I've got a reasonable mental image of what you've been doing. So
nice.
It does sound fascinating, and it's just incredible. The level of detail it sounds like you're putting into this work, but you can't. What's the best way to put it? You can't do any half measures when it's going into such a grand place.
Right. And I've often said that doing Gothic stuff is just you start out with a box and then you just keep piling stuff on until somebody tells you to stop. So that's the basic. I really identified with what Jimmy said about not having everything planned out and absolutely nailed down before you start bending nails. At some point, I can only think so much, and I got to go. I got to start putting 3-dimensional stuff together and see where it goes from there.
Steve Twidell says, "Read the bloody chat, Chris."
Read the chat, Chris. That's what Nicola said. Read the chat, Chris. I tell you, a head is full of custard tonight.
Anyway, so we talk about our week then. Go on, Chris. You talk about our week. We'll talk about our week.
What have you guys been up to anyway?
Well, we've had a busy old week, Andy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've been demonstrating in Huddersfield, which is part of Yorkshire. That went very well at Woodturning Club. I've done another YouTube video with my glamorous assistant here.
Yes.
What else have we done?
We had Clive from Tormec here on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tormec. I've had a meeting with Clive, who's part of Axminster Tools and Machinery, part of Drymark Tools, and also they import Tormec, the Swedish sharpening system. So I've had a meeting with Clive just to sort of like get some details thrashed out, because I'll be demonstrating for 3 days in November on Tormec's stand.
Wow.
So Yeah, basically it's Tormek, so that easy and efficient that even a blind guy can use them. So that's the sort of angle we're going for, because I've got a Tormek and all the jigs, and that allows me to sharpen my tools efficiently and with complete accuracy and repeatability. So, you know, so Tormek are helping me a little bit. So we've had a meeting with Clive. I had someone in the workshop this morning who had a 2-hour session with me. So I was teaching him the basics of slow speed, water cooled sharpening with jigs. So I did that this morning for a guy that lives in the village. What else have we done?
We've been to Rycroft Hall.
Oh yeah, I was public speaking earlier on in the week. Sorry, last week. There was a ladies group, and they meet at a place called Rycroft Hall, just on the outskirts of Manchester. So I was telling them that my story, and they did ask me to speak at their group, so I did that.
Very cool.
What else?
I think that's it. That's all we've done this week. We've got a demo on Monday in Wigan.
Oh yeah, demonstrating next Monday in Wigan.
So there won't be a live next Monday. So Wayne Bigfoot Woodcraft is going to do a pre-recorded podcast with us, which will be
Nice.
Going live at 7:30, but it won't be a live edition.
Yeah, because we has got to pay the bills, man.
Duty calls.
Yeah, that's right. So,
So I just asked everybody what they've been doing this week. Where are we?
Yeah.
So AH Bespoke says he's ordering his DNA test kit.
Oh, right, cool. Yeah, find out if you've got any Viking blood.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He does. He doesn't need a test for that.
Steve Twidell said he'd got to go, granddaughter's birthday, and he's been making prezzies.
Okay, Steve.
So anyway, I wanted to say, give a shout out to Steve.
I did it before, but do it again.
Oh, did you do a shout out?
Yeah,
to
you were
Steve?
in Cloud Puppy Land laughing, so carry on.
So yeah, Steve and I have been messaging, and Richard Morley as well. But this week, I've been messaging Steve a lot just to ask him about this steam yard and their experiences. So yeah, it's like we always say about the maker community. It's just so good to get help from people and just feedback. Dave the Wood Barber says he's made another gear knob. You've done a gear knob, haven't you?
I did make a gear knob a couple of years ago.
T+G, they've been turning a pen and bowl for G's mother's birthday.
Awesome.
Maple Tree Studios played Pooh Sticks in the 100 Acre Wood, or at least the place that inspired Winnie the Pooh. Oh, wow.
Whoa, that's awesome. Everyone gave Pooh Sticks.
Yeah.
Although my version might differ from everybody else's.
Leona says she's been making birthday presents for her niece. Went down very well. Yeah, Steve has a new GoFundMe if you'd like to shout out that, the Creator Bus. Oh, right, okay. Tell me more about that, Leona. I've not seen anything about that. Dave G says he made a sick U bowl.
You mean sick?
Sick.
Well, sick's cool, isn't it? It's,
Not in my head.
It's street or cool.
I know it is street for cool. Yeah.
We've just actually booked to go back to Croydon as well, so we'll be going back there in April next year.
Unlucky Dave. I'm coming back.
Yeah, you're stuck with us.
Yeah.
So yeah. Blue Light Turning says he's not touched the lathe in a week. He's been decorating the lounge, 6 kilograms of filler in the wall.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Commission young Mr. Berkey to come over and give your lounge that Renaissance touch.
Hey, let's have a go.
Yeah.
Nobody got hurt the last time I was there that I know of. Jamie might have gotten a bit of a bang here or there, but.
I know Dave G as well. You tagged us in a post on Instagram. I've not had a chance to comment on it yet, but he's unpacked his new lathe and he's got it all set up.
Cool.
So that's where he's made the sick bowl.
All right. Sorry, it's just that mental image again.
Leona Faye says Steve's trying to raise money to get a mobile workshop on the road to go to schools and teach kids woodworking skills. Cool.
There you go.
So is he doing a kicks? What's it called?
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. So
yeah, we'll throw a couple of clams your way, Steve.
Oh,
he's gone.
He's gone, but we will.
Yeah.
Dave McClern and Woodturner, he says, getting products ready for another 2-day fair. Dave G says he's had his lathe since May, but finally he's got it set up. That's cool.
Dave G, did you get my message about the T-shirts? You were asking about T-shirts. So I think I messaged you back and said you can buy them through our website. So
yeah, I'm just bundling.
I don't know if you did get that message. I did my best and hit send, but who knows? It could be just drifting around the virtual ether, just exploding sporadically by text, as often they do. I have a lot of fun lately with Siri. I tried to say good night to my son the other night via text. So I tried to say buenas noches. So Siri said, when it is not chess. Which I thought was highly amusing.
Yeah.
So every time I see Charlie now, I'm going to say, when he's not chess.
We said we're taking Bambo to the vet.
Oh, yeah, we've got to say it quiet. No, it's really good. He's going to the vets on Thursday for his annual booster. So, yeah, he's not really phased by injections.
He just winces a little bit, but he's very
yeah, he just like tightens up for a second, but he's never off colour, really. Friday, I'm a guest on a podcast.
Yeah.
A lady called Holly.
Yeah. So
that should be fun. Yes. Oh, yeah. I've just got my bandsaw back from Axman's Tools. Actually, we went in on Saturday and picked it up. So it needed a bit of therapy regarding its tracking and a couple of bearings replacing on it. So that was good. That's been done.
Yeah. Debbie says she's been having a go at pyrography while at the caravan.
Oh,
that sounds cool. Yeah.
Especially, with the weather being pretty useless at the minute here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been looking at your pictures that you've been putting up recently. I love that one of your dog's eye.
Oh, yeah.
That was really cool. It'd be really cool to sort of do some sort of collaboration. Think of maybe something that you photograph at your end and I photograph the same thing here, or I don't know. It'd just be really cool to do something together with photographs. And
yeah, that'd be good fun.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what, but I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, I'm all about it. That's really just, I think I said it before, but that's just a meditation for me. I love it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I do it for the same reason, really.
I think it'd be really cool, actually, it's just popped in my head, if Andy took a picture of something, obviously in Illinois, and you did the same topic, but it was, so he took something which was quintessentially American.
Yeah.
And you took the same thing.
Yeah.
But in its own way, it is quintessentially British.
Yeah.
So for example, and this is not any, do not do this, but if Andy took a photograph of a huge 35-litre Cadillac with fins hanging off the back, classic Americana, a car as big as the Titanic and got about 2 miles to the gallon. And if you went, all right, well, here's a Bentley. But, that quintessential American, and it can be architecture, natural history, parks, forests, whatever. But
another thing.
I think that's fantastic idea.
Yeah, and another thing you could do is I could try and find something that was quintessentially American in the UK, and you could try and find something that was quintessentially British in America.
Yeah, well, you could photograph McDonald's.
No.
Right? And then Andy's got to try and find a fish and chip shop in Chicago.
Yeah. I've been looking for 35 years to try to find a proper fish and chip shop over here, and I haven't found one.
Well, on the way to Lincolnshire a couple of weeks ago, you saw a very authentic American diner.
And
and you'd been in there years ago, so that'd be cool. So there you go, it can be done. You could photograph a classic American diner here, and it was all, you said it's all the polished stainless steel on the outside and neon signs, and like I say, Andy could flip that on its head and find something, British in
that would
Illinois.
Be
quite, that would be good fun.
That's harder to do. That's harder to do. I think well, that's a great idea, Chris Bogle. So
I like it. We could play it like a ping pong match. It goes back and forth each way.
Leave classic Americana, and you do the same but classically British.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Anything you want.
I shall communicate with you some more about it.
You've had a great night. You got something like two of your,
like two of my heroes.
Two of your heroes. Yeah.
Jimmy. And you've got your other one right beside you.
Yeah, Bamba.
Yeah. He's always here, aren't you?
Yeah, Old Faithful. Old Yeller. What happened to Old Yeller? Yeah, Old Yeller got a bullet in his head.
Right then. Well, I think, are we done?
Are we done?
I think so. I think we've covered everything now. So what are you doing tomorrow?
I'm back after it tomorrow. I just realized while I was talking to you, I did not do an Instagram shop update this morning. So I've got to do. That's the first one I've missed in a month or better.
Well, I felt a shiver. Oh, what was that? Why did that?
A disturbance in the force.
Yeah, Nicola's not going, he's got another one up. So put the figure out, Andy, and get that bloody news story out, because I need to be told what's going on. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do it. I'm on it. I apologize heartily for my memory this morning.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Well, I think we're pretty much done. What time is it over there? Are you an hour behind, Jimmy?
Yes. Yeah, it's just coming up on 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'll hop back out in the shop for another, 2 or 3 hours probably, and call it. Like I say, I've got to meter myself this back thing until I get it sorted. I'm trying to do different things physically now throughout the day. So if I can do something that requires lifting and moving heavier stuff, and then go back to the bench, that's what I'm trying to do. So
yeah, it makes sense to do that.
It definitely does.
So Larry's put do the Route 66 museum.
Yeah, there's one about half mile from my house.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That can be your first photo, and Nicola's got to try and match that Great Britain style.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what Larry's saying. Yeah, he's been to the one in that's about 20 minutes from me in McLean, Illinois.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, that's actually, Chris, quite the where he's talking about is a massive truck stop where the truckers can go get fuel. There's showers there for them. They can park and sleep, eat, diner food. It's massive. It's probably 15 acres. It's massive, and they have a big Route 66 museum inside the truck stop.
Wow.
Well, our equivalent is the motorway services, which which are about 6 square foot.
They don't have a museum.
They don't have a museum. No. Yeah, most of the other stuff, places to eat and shower and sleep.
But you can get good chocolate there. We can't get good chocolate in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah, true enough.
Right then. Well, it's always have this chance to talk to you. Thank you.
Oh, always fun, guys. Thanks for letting me crash your peaceful event that you had going on, and
No, it's been a
It's
giggle.
a pleasure.
It was a lot of fun just having you crash like that. It was a lot of fun, and you're welcome anytime. And that goes for everyone else as well. If this might have started a new trend.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a podcast.
Who wants to gatecrash?
Yeah, a podcast, and then when the guest is left, we can have a gatecrasher. We might try something.
That actually is kind of cool idea.
Yeah, we can talk about bacon.
Let's talk about bacon.
Danish bacon, done very crispy.
Right then. Well, let's say goodbye to these lovely folks.
Good night, Andy. We love you lots, and Nicola will be in touch, obviously, regarding your project. Yeah, and collab.
I love it. Love you, dudes. Take care of yourselves. Be good to each other.
Bye.
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 Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Right, so we'll say goodbye to everybody else.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's Mad Monday.
It's very, very, very interesting, eclectic, awesome Monday evening. And to everyone that's tuned in and been commenting and listening, thank you all very much. We couldn't do it without you. So, yeah, and we love you all, guys. Incredible evening. And thank you all very much for your continued support.
We couldn't do this without you. It wouldn't be the same, would it? Just us two sat here chatting to ourselves.
We do it to get all of our friends involved as much as they can. So absolutely flipping amazing. What time is it? Just listen to my phone.
2 minutes to 9.
2 minutes to 9. That's what a great night. Thank you all so very much for hanging with us again.
Yeah.
So like Nicola said, pre-recorded for next week.
Yeah, so there's no live next week, but there will be something scheduled to go up at 7:30 on Monday, but we will be at a demo.
Yeah.
And we will be back the week after. I think the week after is Mr. Kirchner, Joe.
Oh yes, we're having a house guest, Joe Kirchner. So yes, is a fellow countryman of Jimmy's and Andy, but lives and resides here now in the UK. He's come to spend a few days with us.
Yeah.
So we're going to have lots of fun, hang out, maybe do a video and hang in the workshop. Joe Kirchner. Yeah, that's in a couple of weeks he's coming to town, so he will be a podcast. We'll get him earning his keep while he's here.
Yeah.
He can be interviewed. So with that being said, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Thanks everybody.
Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Keep on turning.
Catch you all soon. Bye.
Bye.